Well, welcome to Go for Lunch. And let me turn off the audio here on my iPhone where I'm monitoring to see if we're getting out there in cyberspace. Okay, there we go. So we had a little problem apparently. Somebody put in 11:55 p.m. instead of 11:55 a.m. I operate on 24-hour time, but apparently YouTube doesn't. So I must have been late at night when I scheduled this, and it put in 11:55 in the p.m. So sorry about that. I certainly will treat that as a learning experience. And so I'm trying to tell people here that are texting me. So let's see. Okay, so what you need to do, of course, the people I'm telling this to are already here. Search for GoFor Technology on YouTube, and you will find the live broadcast, which is in progress. Period. Okay, so we live and we learn. It's what we call in the trade failing forward. So Susan found us. Thank you, Susan, for finding us. And Bob has shared the link on the one that won't happen ever. And this is the place to be. So we've got 4 people here now. So that's good. So I think we'll wait a few minutes. We're going to be talking about the Apple event yesterday, which I'm very excited about. And hopefully I will be able to pass some of that enthusiasm on to you, especially if you are sporting a vintage or soon-to-be vintage Mac. It's time to update and take advantage of all the features both in the software and the hardware, which we will be talking about shortly. Leslie Ann found us. Thank you. So I think people are coming over, and of course, as always, you can watch this on the replay at your leisure. So I think we will just get started and again learn from our mistakes. Welcome to Go for Lunch. Glad you could make it. Today we're going to talk about the fact that I didn't hit the right button in Keynote. There we go. Let's try that again. Let's just start over here, because I'm going to chop off the beginning, so we're going to just edit this on the fly. Welcome to Go for Lunch. Today we're going to talk about the Apple keynote on Go for Lunch number 76 that took place yesterday. Again, my thanks to Tim Cook for having it the day before Go for Lunch instead of during Go for Lunch, so that helps me out a lot. So here at GoFor Technology, it is our goal to make your technology work for you. If you're new here, please type new in the comments so we can get to know you and welcome you to our community. I'm Roger Harmon with GoFor Technology. I founded this in, say, 1989 is a good year, and I've been helping people ever since with their Apple home automation and home theater technology. So Go for Tech, that's what we do. Okay, let's get down to the subject at hand. The title this time for the Apple event was Apple Unleashed. So we can look at that in at least 2 different ways. Number one, they unleashed the power of these 2 new powerful M1 chips. And another way of looking at unleashed is that you have a portable Mac that is not tethered to your desk. You can unleash it and take it out, travel with it, do things in the field, and have a very powerful computer. So let's see here. Okay. I guess we're going to cut out this part as well because there's 8 people waiting at the other link, and I need to be able to send this link. So let's just do this real quick. Okay, we're back. So it started off with CEO Tim Cook standing in Apple Park in front of the spaceship Apple headquarters in Cupertino, California. They jumped right into talking about Apple Music. Now, Apple Music is a subscription service, and they've added a feature or enhanced a feature called curated playlists. So they are trying to figure out what kind of music you want when you're in Tokyo, or when you're having a dinner party, or when you're doing yoga. And a new plan has come out called the Voice Plan. And that's exactly what it means. It means you can only control the voice plan with your voice. So that's kind of interesting. It's in addition to the existing plans of $10 a month for an individual or $15 a month for up to 6 family members. So that's the Apple Music subscription. Of course, you can still buy music through iTunes. Unfortunately, last time I tried, they make it very difficult to find the iTunes store and actually buy music. They keep wanting you to subscribe. Hopefully, they will fix that so it's not such a chore to get to the Apple iTunes store to buy music that you want to keep. Again, along the music lines, they introduced colors for the HomePod Mini, now in 5 colors. So they've added the blue, the orange, and the yellow to the space gray and the white. So you can have a different color in every room of your house and play your music. Spatial audio is a big buzzword, and let's jump in and figure out what that is. Now, as you've seen and will see, I'm bringing up the presenters, but I'm not going to try to pronounce their names. So spatial audio is taking audio from the stereo, where you just have a left and a right channel, to a spatial audio, which fills up your whole space. So it gives you an immersive experience when listening to music or soundtracks to movies. So it is all around you in all the spaces. And the spatial audio will work on lots of different Apple products. It will work on your new MacBook Pros. It'll work on AirPod Pros, iPads. I'm not sure how it will work on an iPhone. I have to look into that. And they're over $500 over-the-ear headphones, the AirPod Max. They brought out some new AirPods, the 3rd generation AirPods. A little different design. The stem here is a little shorter. It's been designed differently a little bit on the outside and a lot differently on the inside, where it really matters. So it will sound better. So here are the highlights of the new AirPods. Has spatial audio, has a longer battery life. You can get the case engraved, which is great for gift giving. You have easy setup with Bluetooth, which not all Bluetooth devices can boast of. You're going to have improved quality on your video calls. You can run and sweat and walk in the rain, but don't swim with these. and it will also work with Dolby Atmos when you're playing your Apple Music. And one of the great features is it will work with the Find My features, where if you lose your AirPods, you can go to Find My on any of your Apple devices and find them. So they're $179, and you can order those today. Well, now for the main event. What is new in Macintosh computers? New chips, new M1 chips. So we have the M1 Pro, and we went deep underground into Apple's research and development labs to find out about all the statistics on these chips, which I'm not going to bore you with. It's all available on apple.com. But the big thing about these chips is they are all in one chip. It's called a system on a chip. So that makes things run a lot faster because there's a shorter distance between the memory and the central processing unit, and everything has been optimized. So the M1 Pro, which is brand new chip, has 33.7 billion with a B transistors. Blows my mind. As we look in the lower left hand corner, it has better performance, excuse me, and it can support up to 2 external displays. You can have a maximum of 32 gigabytes of memory, and you have some choices in the processors, so you can go up to higher level processors for your CPU and your graphics processing unit. So this is the M1 Max. So it has 64 gigabytes of memory, 57 billion transistors, and again, more higher performance in your CPU and your GPU. And it can support up to 4 displays if you so desire. So one of the main reasons that all this works so well is because Apple controls the software, the operating system, and the hardware. So they tweak it so that they get the most performance out of the combination of the whole system. So the MacBook Pro, there you see the new ones. And we're going to talk about some details here in just a second. One of the details is the keyboard. The keyboard has been redesigned. It still has the very helpful Touch ID, so you can touch the key in the upper right hand corner of the keyboard instead of typing in passwords in many instances, and the touch bar will have a moment of silence for the touch bar. They've brought back the MagSafe power connector, so this brings the power to your Mac. If someone steps on the cord, it just pulls out the cord because it's magnetically attached and doesn't take your beautiful new MacBook Pro to the floor and crashing down and hopefully not hurting it. So I just thought this was a beautiful picture, but I wanted to emphasize that even if you have a MacBook Pro, you are not restricted to the screen that comes with a MacBook Pro. You can add a screen or 2 screens or up to 4 screens depending on which one you get. So when you're home, you can have the same convenience of having a big screen like an iMac. At the same time, you can close the lid and put this in your laptop bag and off you go wherever you want to do your computing remotely. So remember, you can always add a screen to a MacBook. They have made some changes on that screen. It's now, the bezel is 60% thinner. And then there's another feature right here. It's called the notch. So we have notches on our iPhones. Now we have notches on our MacBook Pros. And you can barely see it here, but there's a camera right there, and there's a microphone that you can't even see any indication of. Some people have been theorizing that this space might be used for facial ID on future MacBook Pros, but for now, that's not the case, so no facial ID. So the exact measurements diagonally of these screens is 16.2 and 14.2 inches. So this is one of the big features. This is the Liquid Retina XDR display. Now the XDR is what they have in their MacBook Pro monitor, which costs $5,000. Did you want to stand with that? Cost $6,000. So they're taking that same technology now and putting it in other devices. I think the new iPad Pros have it as well. So here on the left are 10,000 mini LEDs. So you see these little white dots here on this blue screen. So that's the illumination of the data that comes up on these layers and brings out a brilliant image for you to see with the Liquid Retina XDR display. Okay, it's what is it time. And go ahead and type into the comments. I see a lot of you are commenting, and we will get to those here in a minute. But what is this blue thing here? You can see there's blue in the bottom, there's a little blue on the top. So I am going to see if anybody knows what that is. So while we're waiting for you to figure out what that thing is, I like Susan's remark here. Do ordinary people need all this power? Well, depends. It depends. So we'll talk about that here at the end. So I'm glad that Alexis got in, and it looks like some of you other people that were on the wrong broadcast, sorry about that, found your way over here. And I think that you all have sound now. So Susan, I hope maybe you've turned up sound on your end. Okay, and thanks Bob for spreading the word. Okay, so we have one answer from Leslie Ann. She thinks that that blue thing is a blue Touch ID, or maybe it's a retina scan. Well, I guess let's see. Bob Wood thinks it's a bass speaker, but I cheated because he watched the presentation yesterday, so he knows exactly what it is. So it is a woofer, and as Bob pointed out, a woofer takes the bass and the lower frequency sounds from your music or your sound source and makes them sound really good. And there's two of these, one on each side. So you can see it goes all the way through the recycled aluminum chassis. So now there are three MacBook Pros. There is the existing 13-inch with the first M1 chip, and as of yesterday they added the 14-inch and the 16-inch. So now they have the most powerful notebooks ever. Of course, every time they bring out a new MacBook, that's what they say. So let's hit the highlights here. So again, I'm not going to say up to every time. So it has 21 batteries, 21 hours of battery life under ideal circumstances. The storage is 2 times faster. The machine learning is 11 times faster. The CPU is 3.17 times faster. It has 6 speakers, so the sound is great. The graphics are 13 times faster. You can buy for a lot of money up to 8 terabytes of onboard storage, and you can get up to 64 gigabytes of onboard memory. They have improved the resolution of the camera. It's now a 1080p camera for your Zoom meetings. And of course, it will come with macOS Monterey that was introduced at the Worldwide Developer Conference in June. So it's finally hitting the streets on the 24th of October. And you can update that on your existing computer depending on how old it is. But don't until it has matured a little bit. Another big news point is it has an HDMI output, so you could just take an HDMI cable, plug this into your flat screen TV and watch movies. It has 3 Thunderbolt 4 USB-C connectors, and they also brought back the SD card reader built right in, along with the MagSafe. The microphones are now studio quality. I think last go around they were podcast quality, so they're even better. And the keyboard that has, it's a magic keyboard. All you have to do is think about what you're going to type and, oh, never mind, that's not this year. And of course they have the 2 chips, the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. Apple continues to be as green as they can. So this MacBook Pro, as in the past, is made of 100% recycled aluminum. Their goal is to be 100% carbon neutral by 2030. They're keeping out all these toxic substances, and their 110 suppliers are committed to 100% renewable energy as soon as possible. So, and their packaging is made of 90% fiber-based packaging, whatever that means, and they followed the Energy Star specifications to automatically put your computer to sleep and hopefully wake up and do everything it's supposed to and save energy. So that is my recap of the Apple event. So while we're waiting for you to type in questions, and we'll go over the questions you've already typed in, let me give you a kind of an answer to Susan's question. So the features that matter to most of you, and then there's a few features that will matter to a few other people. So it has a much better screen, easier on these eyes that are getting older. It has much better sound, spatial audio, easier on these ears that are doing the same thing. It has a better camera, so you don't have to add a webcam. You can use the built-in camera and do just fine. And it retains the Touch ID, which makes it easier for you to put in passwords and do some other functions. In addition, here's something that you should consider. The MacBooks that were made from 2016 to 2018 had the infamous butterfly keyboard, which has been known to fail. So if you have one of those models, this would be a good time to recycle that, to trade that one in on a new one, because that keyboard may fail. And although they do have an extended warranty on those, that extended warranty will be, I think it was a 4-year warranty. So if you bought it in 2016, and I may not be absolutely right on this, that extended warranty may be expiring any day now. So consider that's another reason to get a new MacBook. The MagSafe power connector we talked about, longer battery life makes a difference. Now, if you are one of those, and I know that we have people watching that are photo editors and maybe video editors, this is where the performance really counts. So if you're using Photoshop or Infinity Photo or any of these photo editing programs, they will work much better because they have Apple Silicon. So I'm going to start up here at the top and see what other questions we might have. Okay, so welcome, Judy. Glad you are here. And let's see, what else have we got here to talk about? I'm not even going to Oh, your AirPods won't charge. Well, Apple does have a battery replacement program for those, so you might want to call Apple Care or call the Apple Store and ask them about that. And then we won't get into the bodily functions questions here. And we've answered Susan's question about why you might want to upgrade. And okay, and Stanley, sorry for the confusion, Stanley. Glad that you made it. So, Susan, who has an existing Intel MacBook Pro 2020. Oh, so 2020, so it's an M1. So if you have an M1 and you have a separate monitor and a keyboard, then you are in good shape. So we'll wait a few more seconds here. And again, I apologize for the confusion in finding the link. I will double check that next time. I operate on 24-hour time, but YouTube doesn't. So when I put in 11:55, I mean 11:55 a.m. because the other 11:55 is 23:55. So someday we'll get this figured out. Probably when we switch to the metric system. Okay, well, thanks for joining. Glad to have you all here today. And by the way, if you are ordering a new MacBook Pro, I just talked to a new client, BB, who may be here. And she ordered a new MacBook Pro 16-inch, and her delivery date is in December. So if you're thinking about ordering these, you're not probably going to get them tomorrow. So it could be December or January before it actually shows up. So make sure you have a good backup and a new hard drive, so when you're ready to migrate your data to your new MacBooks, you will have a good backup to do that with. So any other questions? You can call me or you can email me, and that information is coming up right now. Take care.